Hi, this is Gracie. I have everything assembled here to start making some sweet cream butter in a blender. And I started with cream that came from my Aunt Iva and Uncle Walter's farm, where they have 2 cows, Flossie and Mossy, and they are well loved and milked by people who love them and care for them. They graze in a pasture of clover and other wild grasses. No chemical treatment whatsoever. They are not given hormones. They are truly organic. And I have I've actually had it setting out for about a half an hour, and I'm probably going to leave it set out now that I've got it in the blender just a little bit longer, because I'm going to make 2 batches. I have my containers to put the butter in when it's done. This is the jar to put the buttermilk that's going to separate out from the butter as we blend it. And I have a strainer with a bowl under that I'm going to then strain the excess water from the butter. And then I have a plastic bag, because I don't have saran wrap. I'm going to put the butter in that to shape it, and we will see how it goes. Okay, we are ready to go ahead and start. We're going to do it, it's on a frappe setting, which is the highest setting of this ancient oysterizer blender that I have.
I think that's actually pronounced Osterizer.
After just a few minutes, it's already kind of at the whipped cream stage. It'll take about 8 or 10 minutes to get it back to the stage that we need it to be for the butter to start to separate. But now has gotten to the point where you can see that it has started to separate, and I'm going to start pouring the milk off of it. And here we go. I'm gonna get myself a knife here just to kind of hold that back. And I'm just very slowly going to drain that milk off. Now, this is actually called buttermilk, and it doesn't look anything like the buttermilk that I have bought at the store. But my understanding is that's what it's called, and I'm actually going to use this to make some buttermilk pancakes, or buttermilk and probably some buttermilk cornbread. And this is going to take me just a little while, so now I am just draining the last few little drops of the milk off of the butter. I'm going to drain it as much as I can, because I'm going to have to put water in this and rinse it. Until I get all of the milk out of it. So the more I get out of it now, the less I will have to rinse out with water. And it's still dripping a little bit, so I'm just going to let it keep going. And there we go. And as you can see, here is what's going to become our butter. Put that in there. And I'm going to set this buttermilk aside, because I will have more to add to it. And now I am going to add water from my refrigerator, which puts out cold water, because you want to put cold water, not necessarily ice water, but cold water. So I'm going to pour some of that in there, and then I'm just going to give it a quick blend. And now that I'm not going to pour into the container with milk. I'm just going to pour that into a container that will just get poured out, because it's watery. I don't want watery milk, so I'm going to do the same thing. Pour that out again. So that's one rinse. Let's see, well, actually it looks like I can pour more out. I just didn't tip it enough. Give it another quick spin. Okay, let's go ahead and pour this off. And it is not completely clear, but I think it will be okay. Because from what I understand, most people rinse it about 3 times. So I think that's probably clear enough. Get all of that drained out as best as I can. Okay. Okay, now I'm taking, and see, as you can see, it just pretty much flopped out of there. Now we'll get the rest of that out by taking my blender apart. Now I'll do that, but anyway, I'm just going to demonstrate here real quick. That I'm just going to smooth this butter along this strainer like this, just to get any excess water out of it. And I'm just kind of pushing on it, not hard enough that I'm going to push it through. I'm just rubbing it around enough for the water to strain out or drain out of it. And I can see the water coming out. I'm afraid it's blocking up it's not really, let's see. Yeah, it's draining out some, but I think I've got more butter coming out of it than I do water. So I will just pulling this back in. And again, this is my first time of doing this, so I'm kind of learning as I go here. There's a lot of butter on the bottom here. Get this. And I know you can strain it with a cloth, but I actually did that, and that was a gigantic mess that I really did not care to repeat. So when I saw this method on YouTube, I thought, well, I'm going to try that. Which this looks, no, it's not bad. And I'll get that little bit of butter that's fallen down in the bowl, I'll get that out, because it's too precious to waste for sure. But I'm going to let that sit there and kind of work it a little bit. I'm still squeezing water out of there. I can see it. Okay. Let's get this back out. I'm going to keep doing this as long as there's water pouring out of it, which there still is. I'm just going to keep working this like this for a little while. This seems to actually work pretty well. I mean, the water, you can see it's dripping out. I don't know if the person who did this on YouTube that I saw had this same issue with having to go back and pull the butter back into it. And I don't know if I just leave it sit here for a while. I don't know that if it will continue to drain. I don't really know. Let's see how it, every time I do this, more water is coming out. This just seems much easier to me than squeezing it in a cloth. That really was not something that I would care to do. This actually makes more sense to me. Okay, now I'm going to get a big spoon out. Maybe my favorite wooden spoon. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in this bag. Let's get all of it out of there. And I know, like I said earlier in the video, it does say to use saran wrap, which I'm certain would be easier, but I just don't keep saran wrap and I didn't have any, so I'm just going to do it like this and put it in this bag. I'm wiping this off one more time from here. And I'm certain that I have not gotten all the water out of it. And I'm not sure how that affects the end product. My guess is it probably makes it harder when it gets cold or something. I don't know. But it is a very nice consistency. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock it down in this bag. And I'm going to shape it and do it like this. Pull it down in there. And then I'm going to use this recycled sour cream container. I'm going to try this. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to just go ahead and cut the tip out of that, and then I'm going to squeeze this in here like you would with ice cream, which clearly I'm not, and it is actually getting rid of some more of the water. I will rinse off of there. squeezing more water out of here. So I'm just going to keep doing that and then keep pouring it off. This may be why they used to use what's called a butter press. Again, I am learning as I go here. The water, I will say this, the water that is coming off this butter at this point is very clear. I'm just going to keep pushing it in this bowl as long as I can get water to surface to the top. Still more water coming. This may be my own method here, taking the place of a butter press. I just don't know if that's, I haven't looked that up. I know my grandmother had these butter molds. They were kind of like a little press. So I don't know. Maybe that's what they were used for. It is some pretty butter, I know that. Let's clean this edge up and drain some more water. It's sweating. It's like, I don't know if you can see that, but it's like the water is sweating out of the butter. That's very interesting. I am going to wipe off the top of this. And I don't know if I mentioned, but there's our nice bowl of butter. And that was from one blender full of sweet, fresh cream. So, thank you very much. Okay, it's going to do something here to create a gift presentation for the butter, and I'm going to reuse this bag that I just used for the previous batch. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. This time I'm going to do something a little bit different, just because I want to have some of this butter to use like as a little gift presentation. Go ahead and clean all this out like I did before. Hope you can see it's starting to get dark, and I don't have a big overhead light in the kitchen here. I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and get this off the bottom like I did before, and which is, I think, much easier and much less wasteful. In fact, I'll clean that off even better and get the rest of it off of there and put in my bowl. But I want to go ahead and, like I did before, and then it's also, some of the water is dripping out here. And I'll show you something that I did with the last batch. But what I'm going to do is, I've got these little gold cupcake pans or liners or whatever. And I'm going to just make myself a nice pretty little presentation of butter. Well, not as pretty as I like, but If they don't come out well, I can just dump them back out and redo it. Okay. The water is like squirting all over the place, so it is still taking water out when I'm doing this. Yeah, that one's not very pretty. But anyway, I'm only going to use a couple of these anyway. The other ones I'll just put back in the bag, and I'll just use, I've got a couple here that look pretty nice. I will just use those. But what I'm going to do is put these in the refrigerator and let them set up, and then I will come back and show you what I'm going to do next with them. Okay, now that I've gotten my mess from making the butter all cleaned up, and it actually was not bad at all. It was not a bad cleanup. From this gallon jar of cream, this is where the cows were milked, the milk was allowed to sit, and the cream rose to the top, and then the milk was drained off. This was a gallon of what we would, if we bought it at the store, it would be called heavy cream. With that 1 gallon, I ended up with almost a half gallon of buttermilk, which I will use to make cornbread and probably not biscuits, but maybe some pancakes and that kind of thing. And then I ended up with these two 16 ounce, in which they're not all the way full. The first one has a little more in it than the other, because I did take out some, and I actually ended up only keeping 1 dollop of the butter that I put in the little gold cupcake sleeves. And I'm gonna do a presentation with that later that I will show you. But I've got these paper towels on top of the butter because I noticed it was still weeping, and so I'm gonna call it weeping because that's what it looked like. So I've put these on there, and I noticed that it's kind of pulling out that little bit of butter because I didn't squeeze it enough. And so I'm gonna let that sit like that, and then I will come back in a bit with the how I'm gonna put that little dollop of butter together to do a presentation actually for my aunt that gave me the cream to do this with. Okay, I'm back, and I have my little presentation cup with my dollop of butter, and I have, you may be able to see, I have actually put a little sprig of fresh thyme on it because I happen to have some, and I like the way that looks. And I've got a piece of mylar, just plastic, and I've got some ribbon here, but I am going to pull this up and tie this up in this little plastic bag, and just do one little twist here so that I can, this might be difficult for me to do, but I'm just going to tie this nice little piece of ribbon and around that, and like I said, I'm going to make a little presentation piece just to give as a gift to my aunt who gave me the cream. And you can see one of my videos of her actually milking Flossie, one of their cows that the cream came from. But I'm going to tie that up like that and make a little bow here, and tie that up and straighten it out nicely just so it looks very pretty. Piece of ribbon off, and then I'll use it. Now, what I have that I'm going to put this in, they're actually these cupcake boxes that I got from a cousin of mine who has a store here where I live, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. They're actually, I have a dozen of them, and I've built this one, but they're actually little, they're made by a company called Kazipa, which I had never heard of before, but they do these little laser cut boxes for like party favors, like at weddings and things like that. Well, they make this little box, which I happen to get from her, as a presentation box for cupcakes, and it even has this little piece that, let me make sure I put that right, this little piece that goes down into it so you can easily lift your cupcake out, which is just absolutely adorable. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that up. And I'm going to take one of these little stickers that has come with it. And I'm thinking if I were going to do this, you know, all the time with the butter, I would probably make some special little stickers, you know, that have the you know, maybe my aunt's name or somebody's name on that little sticker. And then I'm going to take this one extra little piece of ribbon here and just kind of tie it right on here. And just do it like that. And just kind of make it look cute there. And there we go. There is our presentation of our homemade sweet cream butter, courtesy of, actually this came from Flossie, I think, but maybe a mixture of Flossie and Mossie's milk. But thank you for watching.